what's up, and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be giving a review for the Hot Toys Batman Begins 6 scale Batman figure. Now this is a Sideshow exclusive figure too as well. Now one of the things kind of interesting about this, they're actually calling it the Dark Knight trilogy, but I'll touch on that later. They're not labeling the box Batman Begins, even though it's based on a particular version. They're just labeling it the Dark Knight trilogy. Now I must admit, this is like my favorite bat suit from the Dark Knight trilogy. I prefer the Batman Begins bat suit. That was when I really liked it more than the Dark Knight suit. Now I have been hearing some very bad things about this particular figure, and it's probably because it has been released so many times. So I'm going to get into this right now. Now this is the box that contains the Batman Begins exclusive Sideshow figure from Hot Toys, and again it does say the Dark Knight trilogy right there. And Batman 6 scale. It's like it should, I must admit, like it should have said Batman Begins, 6 scale figure, so we can know that it is based on that particular film. So that's how the box art looks. And of course it does say in the back right there too. And of course you can either slide this on off like this. And you can see the figure on the inside. Now I have been hearing some negative things about this particular piece. Like from people like Dean Knight. I know he's been complaining about it. I know he said that Hot Toys have released this particular figure I think a few times. It has been released more times than this one. So I know he's been kind of complaining about it. So what? But I'm still gonna get into this right now. And as you can see, it says the Dark Knight trilogy right there on the top of the box too. It does seem like it should have said Batman Begins. And it does have Batman up at the top too. And as usual, Hot Toys gives you your instruction manual for your figures. I'll be sure to look into this. The Dark Knight trilogy. And it does seem like it should say, I must admit, Batman Begins, instead of just calling it that. So you can see how the instruction manual looks. I'll be sure to check these on out. Now first of all, I want to talk about the stand too that comes with the Hot Toys Batman Begins 6 scale figure. So as you can see, they have this plastic around it. I'm going to take it on now. Now, I must admit, I think it's a solid looking being this is my first Batman Begins Hot Toys figure. I think it's a nice piece. At least it does say Batman Begins on this. As you can see, that kind of reminds you of the teaser poster where he's looking down. So I think that's pretty cool. And it does say Batman on it right there too as well. So I think the stand is pretty decent. Especially from a newcomer like me, because I haven't had this. And of course this is your U-style stand that comes with it. Then you just plug it on in. So yeah, there it is right there. That was kind of tight too. And of course, this raises up and down too as well. And as you can see, as usual, Hot Toys has the cape already attached. Well, they have it like this behind the figure. So I'm going to remove that and pull the figure on out. Okay, now for the figure itself. So you have to be kind of careful with these two. I don't want to mess up the cape. So as you can see, there he is. Being that this is my first one, like I say, I think it's kind of solid. So of course I have to take all this plastic off of this stuff. Okay, there's the Hot Toys Batman Begins Sideshow exclusive 6 scale figure. So I'm measuring him, and he's right at 13 inches, like with his cowl, or the ears on the cowl. He hits 13 inches. So I talk about the likeness And and you can see he stands too, and like the articulation of the figure. But you see, he does stand though. Now I must admit, my figure, it did have this like moist type stuff that I've been hearing that's been on the figures here lately. Kind of like the Batman Forever ones had it too, but mine's they didn't have it. But as you can see, this is how it looks. So I just took my like a cloth and wiped it off, but this particular one did. But my Batman Forever ones didn't. But as you can see, this is how this looks. So I've been hearing some negative things about this, like how the cape should be really like attached down, like a little further down. The neck looks like it's too thin too as well. I've been hearing some like bad stuff about this one. I want to get like a better shot of the face. It's kind of hard with this lighting, but you can see that's how it looks. And the figure does stand pretty good. So as you can see, this is how his suit looks too, like the bat symbol. And like I say, I always prefer this particular bat suit out of the Dark Knight trilogy suits. Like out of this suit and the Dark Knight suit, I prefer this suit. And of course, this belt is still like a piece, you know, that can slide all around. That's still kind of cool noticing that the belt can be moved all around. And that's kind of nice. You can see like his gauntlets too as well. But I have been hearing things about this too, how like the color on his gauntlets is off from the color that's on his suit. And this is like a rubber suit too. You can see how rubber it is. Looks like it's like a lot of air in there too. Cause if you bend it forward, right there, it does it kind of like bad, you see. Cause you can see how rubber it is. I'm okay with it though, being this is my first Batman Begins 6 scale figure, you know, from Hot Toys. Now, as you can see, he does stand. His arms do go up, and they stop too, because it got that rubber material in it. So they kind of go up. Okay, I noticed this one goes up kind of how the left one. Okay, the right one does too, but I know sometimes when you do that, they'll like drop back down, but I notice that it does stays. And of course, he does have a bend in the arm too as well, so you can like bend his arms. Looks like it's a double bend too as well. Hands can turn too. And of course, like he has a bend in the lead too as well, the leg. They're like a double bend, but that rubber material that kind of keeps it from going up, because you can see it kicks back down. Of course, he can split too. I don't want to overdo it too much. Feet can turn. It even has like a rock in it too, like a pivot. You can like lean it like that and stuff. Now, one of the things I really think is cool about the figure that I'm kind of excited about, I've been hearing bad things about that too, is the cape itself. It does have a wire in it. So I think that's kind of cool, that you can have this cape like it's flowing in the wind. As you can see, it's a rather large cape, and I've been hearing, even with the other Batman figures that are considered like good, I still be hearing like a lot of like negative things about how awful like the capes be. Even when they're like good figures, you can still hear people like complaining about how awful the capes be. But this does have a wire in it too, as you can see, so you can bend it in the wind, like it's floating in the wind and stuff. So there's a wire in it. It looks like it's only along like the edges too. It's not down here at the bottom, I don't think. I'm not noticing that, so it's like it's only on the this part up here at the top of this cape. So I think that's still pretty cool that you can. He has a wire in it, so you can be like bending it and so on. But I must admit, for my first, he also even has these too, like under his shoes. You can't remove that particular piece right there, like, you know, like I forget what it was called. You can't remove that particular piece though under his shoe. I think this is especially being I'm a newcomer to a Batman Begins figure from Hot Toys. I think it's pretty solid to me. I'm okay with it. And like again, like I said before, I like that there's a cape over it. I do notice you can't really drape it over him like I would want. Cause even I like to do poses with him where you have the cape like closing them up. It's like you really can't make them kind of movements with the figure. And of course, you know, the head can't really turn left or right because those kind of bat suits were still kind of like the ones from the 90s where they didn't have any movement in like the neck area. They couldn't really turn their head or anything like that because it was like connected to the suit, you know, with a cowl. But yeah, I think it still is a pretty a solid figure from my opinion though. Now I want to move on through the accessories that come with the Batman Begins figure. So this was the thing that houses like the harness piece. Like, you know, from when Bruce Wayne went to see Gordon. That was before you had the bat suit, you know, he still had like this harness type thing. But one of the things cool about it, you get like a, I'm gonna remove all the pieces and show them. This is kind of cool. Kind of about this particular version of Batman too, as well. They did have this, so I think that's pretty cool. So first up, you do get like another secondary belt for him too, right here, as you can see, to put around him. So it's pretty cool. And it does attach too, 'cause you can select the holes right there, so you can attach this together. Then you get the mask too, as well, that he was wearing. I think that's pretty cool. From what I hear, you can't really put it like on the Bruce Wayne head sculpt. But I think that's pretty cool that they gave us this, because you can just hold it in his hand, you know, if you want. And then this right here is the harness piece. So this sounds pretty cool. So as you can see, you would put this around him, you know, with the Bruce Wayne, the Bruce Wayne head sculpt, and you can give him this mask from when he went to see Gordon. Then up next, you get the which is beautiful. It looks very similar to the DS19 Dark Knight Bruce Wayne head sculpt. You get the alternate Bruce Wayne head sculpt. And again, it's just as unbelievable. This really does look like Christian Bale, as you can see. See if I get some better lighting on it. The likeness to Christian Bale is just unbelievable on this particular figure. I mean, on this particular head sculpt. I just noticed that it says Hot Toys in the back too. Now what I want to do is show the harness, like the alternate look for this Batman Begins figure. I must admit, it's kind of cool seeing the suit like this too. Seeing Batman like that, how it looked without the utility belt on it. I think that's pretty cool. I must admit, it's pretty easy to get the cape off too. Cause if you look right here, like his cowl was cape, I mean, it was attached up here. You can see there's also a ball joint for the head. But his cape was attached with these right here. I might touch on these. So I think that's pretty cool how you can put these in to hold his cape in. They got like a right and left piece too. So I think that's pretty cool. And then he has like a, this is the belt like for his Batman suit, which I think is pretty cool because now you get a better look at the things that he had on it. I must admit, I never noticed that he had that. But you can put like a batarang right there. I didn't even notice that, so I'll try that like later in the video. Plus there's also like his phone right there on this belt too. That's kind of cool seeing things I didn't even notice that he had on his utility belt. That's awesome. And once you finish, that's how the look looks for I think they call it the first night out look for Batman. So as you can see, that's how this looks. And he didn't have this bat symbol on his chest either when he went to see Gordon. But I could tell, it's okay to just leave it like that though. I'm okay with that. I do believe I have it wrong right here because I know you should be able to see the buckle completely. But I was having so much trouble getting this harness on. It really was like troublesome getting like the harness on itself. I still think that's a cool look for him though. I was really having trouble getting that on. Yeah, cause I think you should be able to see that whole belt buckle. Whereas the way I got it is kind of blocked. But you can kind of do it however you want to though, you know, tie it however you want. I still think that's a cool look for him. Then of course, you know, you can have his mask too, which he can hold like in his hand. And before I put the cape back on, I just want to give an example of this too. How they have these peg things for like right and left. Because this one, you know, is for like putting the cape, well, attaching the cape back to Batman. Cause I left the other one inside the cape right here, but this is the one that's for like the right side. Then you just put it into like the holes that's up here, like on his cape. I think that's still pretty cool too. Now I want to continue to move on through the accessories that come with the Batman Begins Hot Toys figure. You get 2 alternate mouthpieces right here, and these are magnetized. There's one. Then you have another one where his mouth is kind of open. Because what you do is you just come up here and you just pop Batman's like mouth out right here. Of course, once you do it, that's how he looks like without it. I think that's pretty cool. Then, you know, you can just take like a mouth if you want and just put it on there because it's like magnetized. So there's an example of one right there. Then up next, he gets the bomb, as you can see right here. And it's already like out, cause you know it'd be closed in, but it gave it to us like out. Then he gets 2 batarangs too as well. So here's his batarangs. Get 2 of these. There have been some complaints about these too, I think. Then up next you get 4 alternate hands. So Batman has a total of 6 interchangeable hands. He has this particular hand right here. I'm assuming this is probably like a batarang. When you look at it, it looks like it can hold like a batarang. You can just stick that in there like that. Then he has a relaxed right hand. Then he has this particular hand too, like this left hand. This is probably like the mind, cause you can tell you can put something in it. Then he has like this particular hand right here too. I just thought one of them probably is for holding the mask too. If I'm not mistaken, you probably can put the mask in. Then of course you get some pegs too, like if you break it. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. And I must admit, this is one that I am definitely surprised by, and one of my biggest complaints with the figure. He doesn't have his grapple gun. Now that really is unbelievable that he doesn't have his grapple gun. I really think that is unbelievable. So for people who pick up this particular figure, you better be aware he doesn't have his grapple gun. I know previous versions did have their grapple gun, but this particular version right here from Hot Toys, it doesn't have the grapple gun. So I think that's pretty interesting right there. And I must admit, that's probably got to be like probably the biggest flaw from my opinion. I ain't going to say biggest flaw, but definitely one of the biggest ones with the figure. But another thing I think is pretty cool too with this, and I must admit I never noticed this. If you look right here on Batman's belt, you can put like a batarang in there. So I think that's pretty cool. I didn't never notice that because he was always like closed up. But yeah, you can take like a batarang and just sit it on in there like that. Now that is awesome. I don't recall ever noticing that. Now I do know that like on other Batman Begins figures, like from other companies and so on, he did have a place where you can put his grappling gun back here in the back. So I think that's pretty cool. But I must admit, I think that is pretty cool that you can put the batarang on him like that. I never really did notice it like that before. I don't recall. Now what I want to do is compare the Hot Toys Batman Begins 6 scale figure with the Hot Toys The Dark Knight Rises 6 scale figure. So as you can see, this is how they look together. I just want to touch on something too. And this is the DX19 version of The Dark Knight Rises. Now, That particular figure came with the grappling gun, or the grapple gun right here, as you can see. It comes with this figure. So I guess if you had the Dark Knight Rises figure, you can probably share it with the Begins figure. I don't think he has a particular hand that can hold it though. Like the Begins figure, if I'm not mistaken, it doesn't look like it. Like a particular hand that will hold it. So yeah, I don't think he even has a hand that can even hold it. But yeah, it is kind of odd that he doesn't have this particular accessory. I think that's kind of interesting. But the Dark Knight Rises did. So dang, if you wanted the grappling gun, you have to get like the Dark Knight Rises Batman. But I know previous versions of the Batman Begins figure from Hot Toys, it did. So yeah, I do think that's a big problem right there with the this particular figure. But I think it's still pretty cool because this was my first Hot Toys Batman Begins figure, so I'm okay with it. Another thing I wanted to compare to with these is their head sculpts. I think this is the same Bruce Wayne head sculpt that comes from both figures, if I'm not mistaken. So these are like the same head sculpts. Exact same head sculpts, which is no problem. I guess if anything, you probably could have like a different expression or different hair, but it's kind of okay. I want to compare another figure from the Dark Knight trilogy. The Hot Toys Two-Face figure right here. This is a superb figure. And of course, you know, this does go with both of them. Really just the Dark Knight particular version. And you can see how he scales with them. They're beating him by like ears. And I forgot to mention that the Batman Begins cowl is a little taller than the Dark Knight. Looks like it, just like the ears. Looks like it's a little taller than the Dark Knight Rises if you go by the ears. But this is how the Hot Toys Two-Face figure looks next to them too as well. And of course all these are from the Dark Knight trilogy. Okay, there's the Hot Toys Batman Begins 6-scale Batman figure, and this is a Sideshow exclusive figure too as well. Now I've been hearing some very negative things and bad things about this particular piece. Kind of like Dean Knight, he was complaining about it. Like even like Justin from like Justin's collection, he was even making some complaints about it too as well. But I think if this is your first time picking up a Batman Begins figure from Hot Toys, I think it's a pretty solid, decent piece, like a decent figure. Because I think what they were really complaining about too is that the figure has been released so many times, you know, and they still haven't gotten certain things right about, like the suit does appear to be too shiny and so on. Wouldn't should look too shiny like that. I know there were scenes where he was like in the rain and thunderstorms and stuff like that, you know. But other than that, it shouldn't be like shining like that. And then another thing, how could they not have his grappling gun? Like his grapple gun, how could they not have that for this particular figure? That's like one of his main accessories, and he did use it like in Batman Begins a lot. So that's kind of interesting that they didn't do that, you know. But other than that, I think it's a pretty solid figure, and if this is like your first time like me, I think it's okay. I like that they do have like a wire cape in it, and I do be hearing things about how awful like these capes be. Even when like the figure is considered good, they still complain that even like the capes are like still aren't too good. You have to get a custom cape, you know. So I do think that's pretty interesting, those kind of things too as well. But yeah, I would recommend it, especially if this is like your first time. But I guess if you had like the previous versions of this particular figure from Hot Toys, I guess you probably can pass on it. That particular person could pass on it. But yeah, I would recommend it. So this is the Hot Toys Batman Begins Sideshow exclusive 6-scale figure. Please leave a comment and subscribe too as well. Dun, dun.